Beautiful morning, dear students. You must be feeling bored at home. Yes or no? But I hope you all are fit and fine. It's more important to be safe in this pandemic. As you know, so far we have completed the lesson number 2, My Teeth. And in that lesson, we have talked about what are the things? Do you remember? We talked about the structure of a tooth and the different types of teeth and the functions of teeth. Today
We are going to have the revision of lesson 3. Do you remember anything? Whatever we have talked in lesson 3? Can you tell me the name of lesson number 3? Yes, plants and their food. Now let me tell you the subjects we will revise in today's class. What makes leaves green? What does a plant need to make food? How do plants make their food? How do leaves get sunlight, water and air to make food? Plants store their excess amount of food in different parts. Plants that do not make food. Plants that feed on insects. Plants and animals depend on each other. And plants that help in digestion. So let's start with our first subtopic, that is what makes leaves green. But before I talk on the topic, can you see the pictures of different leaves on the screen? People, rose, papaya, jackfruit, banana. So what do you understand by looking at these pictures? The leaves are not same of different plants. They have different shapes. The leaves have different shapes of different plants. So what makes the leaves green? Most plants have green leaves. Leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. The leaves of plants such as crotons too have chlorophyll, but it is hidden by pigments of other colors such as yellow or red. Plants make food in their leaves with the help of chlorophyll. So what we came to know here? On the leaves, a pigment is present. The name of the pigment is chlorophyll, and because of the chlorophyll, the color of the leaf is green. Okay, like the croton plants. Can you see the picture on the left side? The colorful leaves it has. So these are the leaves of croton plants. Here the leaves are red color, but it doesn't mean that the leaves do not have chlorophyll. These leaves also have chlorophyll, but the color green is hidden by other colors like red or yellow. And with the help of chlorophyll, they make their food. Means plants make their food with the help of chlorophyll in their leaves. Now let's move to our second subtopic, that is what does a plant need to make food? Plants are living things. They need food to live. A plant uses water, carbon dioxide, sunlight and chlorophyll to make food. The process of making food by the plant using water, carbon dioxide, sunlight and chlorophyll is called photosynthesis. The food prepared by the leaves is a kind of sugar. During the process of making food, plants produce oxygen gas. This oxygen comes out of the leaves and mixes with the air. So what are the things a plant need to make their food? Plant need water, carbon dioxide, sunlight and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll they have on their leaves, and they take carbon dioxide from air, water from the soil and sunlight. With the help of that, they make their food. And the name of the process of making food is photosynthesis. So during photosynthesis, what do they produce? they produce a kind of sugar and oxygen gas. The oxygen is released and it mixes with the air, and sugar they use as their food. And do you know, it is not only the leaves that make food for the plant. Any part of the plant that contains chlorophyll makes food for the plant. Such part appears green. So not only the leaves. If we see a plant part, it can be a stem. Okay, like if we see that the color of that part is green, so we have to understand that that part can make food for the plant. Like a cactus plant, it doesn't have any leaves, then also they make their own food. How do they make? With the help of their stem, because the color of the stem is green, and green means it has chlorophyll. Okay, now let's talk on our next subtopic, that is how do leaves get sunlight, water and air to make food. Sunlight. Leaves absorb sunlight that falls on them. That is why leaves are flat. The leaves are arranged on a plant in such a way that they receive enough sunlight. Did you observe a plant? A plant are having the leaves are flat. Why it is flat? To get more and enough sunlight, and they can make their food easily. Now water. How do the plants get water? Roots have narrow tubes. These tubes form a continuous network in the whole plant. Roots absorb water from the soil. This water travels through the network of tubes and reaches every leaf and all other parts of the plant. So how do the water travels to the leaves? Plants have network of narrow tubes in their body. The water absorbed by the roots travels through the narrow tubes and reaches to every part of the plant, including the leaves. Now, how do the plants get carbon dioxide? There are tiny holes called stomata on the surface of the leaf. Air enters the leaf through the stomata. Leaves absorb carbon dioxide gas present in the air to make food. So the tiny holes are present on the surface of the leaves. Those tiny holes are known as stomata. Stomatas cannot be seen with our naked eyes. To see the stomatas, we need to use an instrument. The name of the instrument is microscope. What does it do? The stomatas take carbon dioxide from the air to make food for the plant. And do you know, a plant does not use all the food that it makes? The food that does not get used up is stored as starch. The starch is stored in the roots, stems, leaves, fruits and seeds of the plant. So the plant, they prepare their own food. They prepare and they use it, but they do not use whole food at a time. The remaining food they store as a starch. Where do they store it? They store that starch in their roots, stems, leaves, fruits and seeds. Now I will have some examples where do the plants they store their food. When we eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, rice, wheat or potatoes, we are actually eat the food made by the plants, like roots, carrot, beetroot, sweet potato. These all are the roots of the plant. Stems, onion, potato, sugarcane, these all are the stems of the plant. Leaves, lettuce, spinach, cabbage, these are the leaves of the plants. Flowers, cauliflower, banana flower, broccoli, these all are the flowers of the plant what we eat. Fruits you all know: mango, custard apple, there are many more. Seeds: rice, wheat, corn. These are the some of the examples of seeds. There are many more what we eat. Actually, these all are the parts of different plants. Yippee! Now we will have an audio-visual presentation on how does a plant make food to understand more about the concept.
Wow, these sandwiches are so yummy. Mom, you cook so delicious food. Thank you, Rohan. But remember that food that we eat should not only be tasty but also nutritious. All living things need food to grow. But Mom, plants are also living beings. Do they also need food? What do they eat? Mohan, plants make their own food. Oh really? But how do plants make their food? Plants make their food through the process of photosynthesis. Rohan's mother told him plants make their food through the process of photosynthesis. So let us learn more about the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants make their food using water, carbon dioxide, sunlight, and chlorophyll. Are you wondering what is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is a green-colored pigment present in the leaves of plants. Plants make their food in leaves with the help of this chlorophyll. Now, let us learn about their components required by plants for making their food. Plants have flat leaves to absorb sunlight that falls on them. The arrangement of leaves in plants is such that it traps maximum sunlight. Roots have narrow tubes, and these tubes form a continuous network in the whole plant. The narrow tubes in the roots absorb water from the soil. Water is transported to leaves and other parts of a plant with the help of tubes. Let us see a leaf through a magnifying glass. You can see narrow tubes on entire leaf. These are called veins. The line running through the center of the leaf is called the main vein or midrib. The surface of a leaf has tiny pores or openings called stomata. Leaves absorb carbon dioxide from the air through these openings to make food. During the process of photosynthesis, plants release oxygen. The oxygen released by plants is used by human beings and animals for breathing. The food prepared by plant is kind of sugar. Plants do not use all the food they make. They store their food in the form of starch. The food is stored in roots, stems, seeds, leaves, flowers, and fruits of plant.
Plants that do not make food. Some plants, such as the dodder, do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot make food. They depend totally on other plants for food and water. They grow on other plants and use their food and water. Such plants are called total parasites. A total parasitic plant kills the plant on which it grows. So here they have given the example of dodder plant. What do? They grow on other plants. Okay, and they take water and food from that plant where they grow. Because the dodder plant is not able to make their own food. Why? Because they do not have chlorophyll. So that is why they depend on other plants. And if the dodder plant remain for a long time on other plant, so that other plant will die. So this type of plants are known as total parasites. Now we will talk another parasitic plant. Mistletoe is a parasitic plant. It grows on trees such as mango and chiku. It has chlorophyll and makes its food but depend on other plants for water and certain nutrients. Such plants are called Persial parasites. So mistletoe, they have given example of a plant who depend on other plants but only for water and nutrients, because they have chlorophyll. They can make their own food but they depend on other plants for water and nutrients. This type of plants are known as Persial parasites. So what is the difference between total parasites and Persial parasites? Total parasites are what? Those plants, they depend on other plants for food and water. Okay, and Persial parasites are those plants who are depend on other plants for only water and nutrients. They can make their own food. Now let's talk on our next subtopic, that is plants that feed like animals. Plants such as the pitcher plant and the Venous flytrap feed on insects. They are called insectivorous or carnivorous plants. The pitcher plant has a pitcher with nectar in it. The nectar attracts insects. When an insect enters the pitcher, it touches the hair-like structures present inside the pitcher. These hair-like structures, on being disturbed, close the opening of the pitcher by lowering the flap, and the insect gets trapped inside the pitcher. Here we see there are some kinds of plants who feed on animals. This type of plants who feed on animals or insects, they are known as insectivorous or carnivorous plants. So they have given two examples of this type of plants, like pitcher plant and Venous flytrap plant. So pitcher plant, how do they eat the insects? How do they trap the insects? So pitcher is a pot-like structure, and inside the pitcher there are nectar present, which attracts the insects. When the insect enters the pitcher and touch the hair-like structure inside the pitcher, it disturbed, and when it disturbed, it closed its lid, means it opening, it's closed, and this is how the pitcher plant trap the insect, and the insect dies inside the pitcher only. Then the plant use the nutrients of the insect for their growth. Now let us know about Venous flytrap plant. How do they catch the insects, or how do they trap the insects? The leaves of Venous flytrap have spine-like structures around them. When an insect enters the Venous flytrap, it closes and the insect is trapped inside. So we can see the structure of the leaf of the Venous flytrap plant is very different from other plants. It has spine-like structure around them. When an insect sits on the leaf closes automatically and the insect gets trapped inside the leaf. This is how Venous flytrap plant catch the insects and use the nutrients of the insect for their growth. And how do they digest them? These plants secrete juices to digest the trapped insects. These plants also make their own food with the help of the chlorophyll in their leaves. They can make their own food also because they have chlorophyll. Now let's have a short exercise. Tick the correct option. First, total parasitic plants do not make food. Second, pitcher plants are insectivorous. Third, dodder is a total parasite. Now I will have an audio-visual presentation on insectivorous plants to make you understand more about the concept.
Isn't that a beautiful plant? Who could imagine that such a pretty-looking plant can feed on insects? Plants that feed on animals especially insects, are called insectivorous plants. The structures of these insectivorous plants, which trap insects, are actually modified leaves. These plants are naturally found in the areas where soil lacks nutrients. They obtain additional nutrient supplements from the animals they trap. These insectivorous plants have special trapping mechanisms to catch their prey, and they have special enzymes to absorb them. Let us now look at some insectivorous plants and learn how they trap their prey. This is a picture of a pitcher plant. It definitely got its name because of its shape, just like a pitcher of water. Here, the insects go into the pitcher looking for some syrupy fluid in the pitcher. But they get stuck in the pitcher as the lid closes. What happens after that? The plant secretes enzymes or digestive juices inside the pitcher, and the insect is digested. Bladderworts have tiny bladders that create a vacuum in it to suck in small aquatic insects. The bladder has a small opening sealed by a hinged door. The door is surrounded by hair. When small aquatic insects touch the hair, the hinged door opens and the insect is sucked into the bladder. The insect is then absorbed by the plant using digestive enzymes. Like most of the insectivorous plants, sundew is also a very attractive-looking plant. The upper surfaces of the leaves are covered with tentacle-like stalks. These tentacles contain glands that produce sticky secretions to trap and digest insects. When the insect sits on these tentacles, the leaf folds over it and the insect is caught. This is Venous flytrap, another insectivorous plant wherein the leaves literally snap shut when insects land on it. The leaf is modified into two blades with thorn-like structures along the margins. These blades are hinged along at the midrib. Look what happens when an insect sits on it. Snap! After about 10 days, it reopens only after the digestion is complete. Now, watch this carefully. The fly unknowingly hovers over the leaves of a Venous flytrap plant. And there, it gets trapped. That's the wonder of nature. Many of these insectivorous plants are capable of living in barren or boggy places as they get the nutrients from the insects they feed on.
Now let's go to our second last subtopic, that is plants and animals depend on each other. Plants and animals depend on each other for their survival. The food made by plants is eaten by many kinds of animals. Animals also depend on plants for shelter. Animals also depend on plants for a constant supply of oxygen. Plants produce oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. So here we can see for different needs the animals they depend on plants. How? Animals they breathe with the help of oxygen. And who supply the oxygen? Plants supply oxygen. And how do they produce? In the process of photosynthesis, plants they produce oxygen. And different kinds of food the animals they eat, we all get from the plants only. Some animals depend on plants for their shelter also. For an example, birds. Birds they make nest on the plants only. If we do not have plants, so where the birds will make their nest? Now, how do the plants depend on animals? Plants depend on animals for their various needs. Plants use carbon dioxide that the animals breathe out. They use it to make their food. Plants depend on animals such as insects and birds to produce fruits. With seeds, animals also help plants to disperse seeds. So plants also depend on animals. How? They use the carbon dioxide to make their food, which animals breathe out. And insects and birds help to produce fruits. Some animals help to disperse seeds. Disperse seed means they carry the seeds from one place to another place. The animal carry the seeds of the plants from one place to another place. So we can understand that without helping each other, the plants also cannot live without the help of animals, and the animals cannot live without the help of plants. So this is how they depend on each other. Now let's talk on our last subtopic, that is plants help in digestion. Many plants which are used in cooking help in digestion. Coriander, mint, fenugreek, curry leaves, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom and cloves are some of them. Can you identify these plants' products? Now let's move to the exercises of lesson 3. Question number 1. Tick the correct options. First, plants make their food by using sunlight, water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll. Second, the Venous flytrap is an insectivorous plant. Third, the tiny openings of the leaf are called stomata. Fourth, leaves can make food for the plants because they have chlorophyll. Fifth, a total parasitic plant cannot make food because it lacks chlorophyll. Now let's go to the second question. Correct the following sentences. Here you have to correct the sentences which are given in following. First, leaves have a yellow colored pigment called chlorophyll. But yellow, the red underline I put there, that word is wrong here. So leaves have a green colored pigment called chlorophyll. Second question, a total parasitic plant has chlorophyll. Here only in this sentence answer, a total parasitic plant has no chlorophyll. You have to put a no after has. Third question, carbon dioxide enters a plant through the tubes present in the leaf. So here the underlined words tubes and leaf are wrong. So what you have to do? Carbon dioxide gas enters a plant through stomata present in the leaves. So in place of tubes you have to write stomata, and in place of leaf you have to write leaves. Fourth question, plants need only sunlight to make their food. But as we know, not only sunlight. Your answer will be plants need sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water to make their food. Fifth question, plants store excess food only in their roots, but not only in their roots. We know that plants store excess food in their roots, stems, leaves, fruits and seeds. Sixth question, plants do not depend on animals in any way. So underlined words are wrong. Plants depend on animals for carbon dioxide. Seventh question, the colored leaves of crotons do not have chlorophyll. So here do not. The words are wrong there. The colored leaves of crotons have chlorophyll. So there do not, you have to remove. Now let's go to the question number 3. Group the following foods we eat according to the edible plant parts. Carrot, cabbage, turnip, broccoli, radish, rice, ginger, orange, lettuce, wheat, sugarcane, cauliflower, potato and apple. So carrot, turnip and radish are roots. Ginger, sugarcane and potato are stems. Cabbage and lettuce are leaves. Broccoli and cauliflower are flowers. Orange and apple are fruits. Rice and wheat are the seeds of the plants. Now let us understand the question answers. Question number 4. Answer the following questions in one sentence. First, list the factors that plants need to make food. Means what are the things the plants they need to make their food? Answer: chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, water and sunlight are needed to make food in plants. Second question: what happens to the excess amount of food made by the plant? Answer: the plant uses whatever food it needs and the rest is stored in their roots, stems, leaves, fruits and seeds. So as we already know that the remaining food, which is excess amount of food, they stored in their parts. What are the parts? In which part they store? In roots, in stem, in leaves, in fruits and in seeds. They store the excess amount of food. Third question: how does air enter the leaves? Answer: there are tiny holes called stomata on the surface of the leaves through which air enters the leaves. So we all know that the surface of the leaves, the small holes or tiny holes are present. Those are known as stomata. Through that air enters to the leaves. Fourth question: name a total and partial parasitic plant. They are asking us to give an example of total parasitic plant and a partial parasitic plant. So answer: a total parasitic plant is dodder and a partial parasitic plant is mistletoe. Now let's go to the long questions. Question number 5. Answer the following questions in 2 to 3 sentences. First, describe an activity to show that veins help in carrying water up in the plant. Answer: take a white carnation or a balsam flower with a stem and make a fresh slanting cut at the end of the stem. Take a vase with tap water and add a little food color to it. Now place the flower in the vase and observe the flower after a few hours. You will observe colored water in the petals. So what we have to do to understand that veins help in carrying water up in the plant? We have to take a carnation or balsam flower with stem. Then we have to cut the stem in slanting way. Okay, at the end. Then you have to take a pot. In the pot you have to take tap water. In the water we have to add some food color. Then we put that flower in that water. After some time we will observe that which color we will put in the water. That color travels through the veins and the petals of the flower becomes the same color of the water. By this activity we can understand easily that veins help in carrying water in the plant. Second question: mention the steps of iodine test. Answer: take some cooked rice in a container. Add a few drops of dilute iodine solution to the rice. The rice turns bluish black because it has starch. So here they are asking to explain the iodine test. What we have to do? We have to take some boiled or cooked rice in a pot. Then we have to put some dilute iodine solution in the rice. So we will observe that the rice turns bluish black because the rice contains starch. Third question: how do plants depend on animals? Answer: plants make their food with the help of carbon dioxide. that the animals breathe out. Plants depend on animals such as insects and birds to produce fruits with seeds. Animals also help plants to disperse seeds. So, as we discussed in the lesson, that plants also depend on animals. How? The plants, they prepare their own food using carbon dioxide. But from where they get the carbon dioxide? The carbon dioxide, the animals, they breathe out carbon dioxide, the same that they use. And the birds, insects, they help the plants to produce fruits. Some animals disperse the seeds, means some of the animals carry the seeds from one place to another place. This is how the animals help the plants. Now let's go to the last question. Question number 4. How does a pitcher plant catch insects? Answer. The pitcher plant has a pot-like structure called a pitcher with nectar in it. The nectar attracts insects, and as the insects enter the pitcher, it closes, trapping the insect inside. There are hair-like structures inside the pitcher, and when disturbed by the insect, they close the opening of the pitcher by lowering the flap. So let's understand. Do you remember the pitcher plant? The pitcher plant has a pot-like structure, and inside that nectar is present. Okay, the nectar attracts the insect. As the insect enters the pitcher, inside the pitcher hair-like structures, and the hair-like structures disturbed, and the pitcher close its lid. As it closes its lid, the insect trap inside the pitcher only. Then the pitcher plant suck the nutrients from the insect. Thank you so much all the students. Take care of yourself.